Lihle, good morning.
Good morning, Moms.
Good morning. I'm good, Jan Poti.
I'm awesome, Moms. I'm super excited about it.
Iyak excited khona yazi njengami. Kabulisa abaphulaphula beKeith Ngesi Radio ngakumba be social crossover sizokwazi basigawule siwahuqa.
Good morning to bonke abaphulaphuli, the social crossover. I'm so excited about it, right? Today we are going to be talking. I'd like to call this part 2 of what we discussed last week, where we'll be going in depth about investors as to now talking about money in depth. Why do we raise capital? Why don't we save money, right? Why and why don't we save money? Some people, would prefer saving money and buy cash and do things cash, and wait for the right time, and there's different types of advices out there. But particularly, why do we take this kind of approach, right? So we'll be talking about it today, and I'm super excited, Moms. I'm super excited.
All right, baphulaphuli ke ngiyazi baqhongolo ezibini sibanaye ke uLihle King Nxoyi wakhe Nxoyi Empire ngomlandela kwikhasi lonxibelelwano. Ikhona into endilinganisayo andanoma ingathi kwicala lakho na and abaphulaphuli bangaba uyavakala kakuhle uLihle okanye kavakali kakuhle. Just let me know utsho nje ba Lhoza kavakali kakuhle ndizozama ucofa into ezithile apha kodwa ikhona nje into ngathi ifuna ubane ekhwanyana apha ezindleleni andikho shona bisuka kuwena Lihle. Makasiqiniseke nje into yobana nomuntu omameleyo apho kuwe uzawumamelela kude angabi kufutshane nawe and yes sizokwazi ke ukuvana kakuhle. All right, uLihle King Nxoyi besenditshilo ke into yobana apha kule feature sizama ukukhuthazana sizama xhobisana ngendlela esinokhe siphume ngazo ezintuwaleni esinokhe singaphumi nje sijonge apha phambi kwenyawo but sijonge into yobana sibe izizukulwane ezizayo zingaxhamla kwinzame namalinge namatiletile esiwenzayo ngokukwenzela uba kuphile amakhaya kuphile ii-community zethu kuphile uMzantsi Afrika nezoqoqosho sibe kanti ke ziyanyuka. Let me hand over to you ke Lihle sijonge into namhlanje uthi asithini na.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Moms, once again for the opportunity. So if you will remember a few weeks ago, we spoke about money, and we said, what is money, right? And I explained money from a mindset point of view, right? As to, money is an idea, and the idea has to be fully formed in your head, before you start earning the kind of income you want to earn, right? And then we also said that, since money is an idea, where the first thing that you should do is invest in yourself so that you can be able to have the skills and the knowledge to capacitate or facilitate the idea. In other words, to bring the idea to life, right? Now, today I want to talk with now a different perspective towards what money is and why we don't save money. Why we don't save money, right? And again, there's nothing wrong with saving money, right? But the thing is, why don't we particularly save money? A lot of people give financial advice and it can get confusing sometimes, right? Don't owe anyone in this family, don't owe anyone, if you owe someone, you are enslaved to them, and, all these different types of quotes about, a penny saved is a penny earned, and all those type of things, right? And again, these are not, I don't like saying it's the wrong beliefs, right? But it's to say we need to revisit again, what is it that we what is money now from a real perspective of what money is, right? So if we now take the definition of money in terms of the mindset and move it aside for a short while, and then we go back to the question, what is money, right? So then the answer is, if you want to know real money, right? Real money is gold and silver. That will always be real, because that money was there before anyone was born. It's a natural resource, right? It's real money. That's gold. Gold and silver will always be money. Now, if we look at money, there was a time when people could trade via capital. Via cattle, I mean to say. The people traded with cattle, the people traded with their skills, Ogwazutunga traded Gotunga, Ogwa chickens traded with chickens, you know, different types of things. People used to trade. And the value of something was based on who has the desire more, and the value of something at the time was based on what you and I are willing to pay for me to get what I want, right? So that then determined the value, which means the value, if for example I wanted igusha and you had igusha, chickens, we would have to come to an agreement. How many chickens should I trade with you, give you, in order for you to give me one sheep? And if we agreed on that number, that's the value of your sheep, right? Now that moved on where money go to a point of being a gold standard, right? Which means when money was, backed by gold, money was stored in gold was stored in bank vaults, right? So the banks stored gold, zabandu, gold and silver, these precious metals, zabandu, right? And then banks would then borrow money to you, or they would lend money to you against the value of your gold.
Okay, imake masibambe apho funeka ndilungise nje ivenkile sizobona uba senza ntoni na emva koko masenje nje.
Idatha sisonke kwixesha esiphila kulo. uVodacom ukunika ithuba lokuba stress free. Sifumanele 1 gig data kwaVodacom nge-R19 kuphela. So ukwazi ukungena kuWhatsApp, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, MyMuse, LinkedIn, YouTube, Video Play kwakunye nezinye social media platforms. Dial *123*4# nofumane wakho 1 gig data kwaVodacom nge-R19 kuphela. Dial *123*4# nebethe pulse yakho noVodacom ube phakathi inside kuzo zonke social media platforms. The future is exciting. Ready? Vodacom.
Oh yes, the future is exciting. Are you ready? Vodacom. Vodacom brings you a product exclusively for under 25s called the Vodacom Next Level. Get a variety of affordable deals suitable for the youth consumer. To register, dial *128# or download my Vodacom app. For more information on affordable next level deals, go to Facebook page or your nearest Vodacom dealer. #stay connected with Vodacom Next Level, the best value for under 25s. Ready? Vodacom. Yes. Uti Bangiti. See, we're ready, Nat.
Okay, so as you were saying, right? Okay, so the banks would then loan you money or print money against the value of the gold they stored. Yeah. Okay. So, for example, if the value of the gold, the value saved or kept for you in the bank was worth 20,000 rand, the bank would then give you 20,000 rand against your loan. Which means they would give you, they would borrow you, paper money in the form of banknotes, right? Which is what we use today to trade, right? They would give you that against your gold, which means when you cannot pay their paper money back, then they confiscate your gold. The same way today, when you buy a property or invest in a property, right? And when you can't pay the bank their money back, what do? They confiscate your house. And then now they don't call it confiscating, they call it repossession or repossessing. Right? So yes. So that's what happened. And then now they came now you must remember something. Now because real money, Robert Kiyosaki always says when fake money is printed, real money goes into hiding. Right? Now, the reason why we say that paper money is fake money is because paper money is constantly losing value.
Okay.
Right? Paper money is constantly losing value. Right? That's one of the first things that we need to pay attention to. It's that this paper money is not sustainable. Right? In the sense that the more money is printed, the more paper money loses value, right?
Okay.
So the banks can print money from your savings. Now, the reason why we've been encouraged to save, I believe, more than to invest or to learn about investing, is because from your savings, the bank is able to print 9 times more from what you save and borrow to somebody else. In other words, if you have 10 rand saved from the bank can print 9 rand and borrow to X for about no, right? So that's what saving, your money in the bank does. Now, if you calculate interest in terms of how much on average do the banks pay you, right, for you to save your money, right? It's interesting. It's an interesting study because on average, banks pay you an average of 6.5% interest. That's an average of 6.5% interest. Now, the interest rate, which means the cost of living, inflation, sorry. Now, inflation, which means the cost of living, goes up every year on an average of 7%. Which means which means if you calculate the cost of living, which is 7%, subtract it with your interest, which means actually banks pay you an average of minus 5% interest per annum on your savings, right? Because you are paying 7% for being alive. And because you need to eat, petrol grew up, the prices of petrol went up, rent went up, the cost of food went up. It goes up every year, oil and the likes, all these things goes up. These are things that support life. And on average, they go up by 7%. And that's just on average. And the banks pay you an average of 6.5%. If I give you 6.5% and subtract 7% from you, you are left with minus 5% interest.
Yes.
0.5% interest, basically. Yes. Right? So that's one of the first reasons why we don't save money. Right?
Okay.
Because when you are saving money, you are actually losing money. Right?
Okay.
And this is one of the questions I ask my coaching clients, that if I were to tell you, give me 1,000 rand, and I will give you 6% of 1,000 rand, or 6.5% of 1,000. What is 6.5% of 1,000 rand? That's 65 rand. Right?
True.
So if let me save your 1,000 rand for 1 full year, and I will pay you 65 rand for keeping it. Right? How does that deal sound? If you and I calculate this mathematically now, how does that sound? You would say, no, Putin, no, Chief, it's fine. I'll see what I can do.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying? But that's not the approach we have. That's not the approach you have when it comes to banks, right? And so now we hand over our hard-earned cash for us to lose money, right? Nobody starts a business to lose. Nobody starts a business to lose, right? You start a business to multiply what you have. You start a business to expand and grow the little that you have. Right?
Yes.
So which means, that's why, Robert Kiyosaki says, savers are losers because they are losing money. Right? If you remember what I said last week instead, it is very important for one to learn the game. Learn the game for yourself. Money is your personal responsibility. Make it your duty to take the time to invest money and time to learn the game for yourself. Because guess what? When you don't learn the game for yourself, you end up using your money to build other people's empires. You end up using your money to build other people's empires, and they end up calling you names. They end up disrespecting you. Right? Because the thing is, why would someone be so negligent with something that runs the world? Money runs the world. right? We live in an economic planet. We're living in a planet whereby you are reminded every day the importance of money. Every single day you are reminded the importance of money, right? So that's why I always say it's very important. You know, I always say, and sometimes this sounds so wrong, but for me it feels like it's the truth. Because if 90% of the population work on jobs they don't like, 90%, that's a big number, right? Now, if 90% of people work on jobs they don't like, which means they're working on jobs they don't like because they have families to support, people to support, a lifestyle to maintain, right? That should tell you that actually 90% of the population go to work for money, right? Because awusoze wenze into ongayithandiyo uvuke ngo-6 every morning to get into traffic through a taxi. You're going there to work, so unomsila because you're going to work. Uyayazi uzawugezeleka, isidima sakho will be played around with for 6 to 7 hours or maybe even 8 per day. By the time you come home, you only have enough energy to replenish and gather strength for the next day, right? So which means, in actual essence, if 90% of the population work for money, it should be money then should be a very important thing for people to study. Because when you've got money, money buys you freedom of choice. Money buys you options, right? And that's what a lot of people don't notice, is that it's the options. And there is a saying that says, you know, money won't buy you happiness. I'm of the opinion that, you know, if money buys me options in terms of, if I feel like playing golf and playing golf makes me happy, you know, money can buy me.
Yep.
You get what I'm saying? But you know, abantu bayavuka, you know, and they go to work, and sometimes I take a walk in my neighborhood right now where I see people at 10 o'clock bedlala golf, and then I'm like, this is the life I always desired for myself, right?
Yes.
And we're like, but the reason why a lot of these people are able to play golf at 10 o'clock in the morning is because they've accumulated skills and knowledge with regards to money that a lot of the public don't pay attention to.
Don't know. Yeah.
Right? So the first thing that has to change is your attitude towards money. Your attitude towards money has to change, right?
Okay.
And secondly, you need to learn about the game, because the game is being played on you whether you are aware of it or not. The game is being played on you, right? And it's played on you every single day. The minute you go out, someone planned for you. Someone, you know, spent the night planning for you to buy, right? I always say, you know, nighttime is skills development time, because nighttime is where I develop and harness my business skills so that I can keep my business going the next day. So when somebody comes to me and inquires about my business, I'm like, dude, I spent the night last night learning new skills so that you could be my customer, right? And that's the truth. And as you know, right? So in other words, if you are not going to plan anything for your finances, if you're not going to plan, you know, how you can play your financial game, we're not talking about planning with a budget. No, that's basic stuff. We're talking about you having control of your money to the point that your money buys you the freedom of time.
Sure.
You know, the freedom to do what you want, right? So now back to our explanation. So now back to our meaning of money, right? So then when money then got off the gold standard, which means when money stopped being backed by gold, because I believe, according to my thinking, that there was a time where people, you know, a less or a small portion or amount of people started owning gold, right? Okay. Because kudala, so according to my thinking, when I connect the dots together, I strongly believe that gold kind of became a scarcity in terms of people now storing it at the bank, because people had so much debt.
Yeah.
So many people couldn't pay, which means the game was being played on people with them losing real money, right? And them being given fake money. So then when money was taken out of the gold standard, then money stopped being gold. Now again, there's not again, money never stopped being gold. But according to our mental thinking, money then became paper money. Right? Which is how you and I trade today, right? If you want this ruler and I say it's 50 rand, you're not gonna give me gold, you're gonna give me 50 rand and it's a banknote, right? So that's what then money became that. Now remember what I said to you a couple of weeks ago. The name of the game is whom is indebted to whom. The more people you have indebted to yourself, the more wealthier you will become. Whom is indebted to whom? Look, the whole system is built on debt. The whole system is built on debt, right? You look at this, Masenzums again. You look at, let's make an example of Wi-Fi, right? So you buy a Wi-Fi and you store it in your house, right? And when you store it in your house, you get to have access to internet. But this internet, you pay every month to have access to a good network, to internet, right? That's the name of the game. It's just that. It's the more people you have, who can give you cash flow every single month, the wealthier you become, right? Imagine this Wi-Fi thing now is becoming a personal thing. Every household desires to have a Wi-Fi.
Yes,
right? Yes. Exactly, yes. so if you think about it, the Wi-Fi, now you think of it, if you could safely say, if there are 1 million people in this population of 58 million or so in South Africa alone, if we are saying 1 million homes have Wi-Fi, right? 1 million homes have Wi-Fi. You multiply that by that 600 rand on average that is paid for uncapped Wi-Fi, right? That's about 600 million. 600 million per month. Keyword per month. Now remember, what does leverage mean? Leverage is the ability to serve more and more people, less and less effort. More and more people, less and less effort. Which means, what do the Wi-Fi guys do? They just install Wi-Fi in the house. They work once, get paid for a lifetime. Key, work once, get paid for a lifetime. If you remember what I said about property, what kind of deals do I want to invest in? I always said, I want to work once, get paid for a lifetime. If once for me in a deal is 3 months, it's cool, but I want to get paid for a lifetime. Lifetime. Because, if you look at the way, I believe that God designed us to work like that, right? Your labor must be fruitful. It does not make sense for you to repeat the same cycle, working for the same income, staying in the same place, working just to defend. As I said before, that lockdown taught us that actually people have not been working for survival. People have actually been working to defend, to keep what they have. So it's no longer about thriving. It's about keeping the standard of living, keeping the car, keeping up with the rental, keeping up with the car payments, keeping up with the Wi-Fi installation, keeping up with school fees. You get what I'm saying? So that's why I say it's so important, because when you don't study the game of money to thrive, you are automatically on autopilot to be at the mercy of the dice roll of those who are taking action, of those who are learning the game. Right? Which means, when ufana nala mntu odlala udice othembayo, who would like to see who seats, right? And which means you are at the mercy of the dice roll, which means you are in no chance, because the minute you throw a dice, you are not in control of the outcome of the results of the dice. So when you don't learn about money, you will not be in control of your own life affairs. Of your own life affairs. The affairs of your life, you cannot be in control of because you cannot control. Because you don't have the knowledge of money. Now, let's go back to our meaning. So, money stopped being money. Money became debt. Right? Money became debt. So, now, if you remember what I said, so money became debt and money became fake because the meaning of the word credit means creating nothing out of nothing. Creating out of nothing. Now, if you think about that properly, which means when you are given credit by the bank or by an investor, basically, it's something that came out of nothing, and now you are indebted to pay it back, yet it was made out of nothing.
Nothing.
Printed money, which means that's why we say, the more money gets printed, the more value this money loses. So what do we do as investors? What do we do as business owners? We use fake money, which is counterfeit money, or you can say printed money, right? Or we use credit to invest in real assets in form of property, and these real assets produce monthly cash flow positive income for us. Just like the Wi-Fi, they install Wi-Fi in your house, you pay for installation, right? And then when they install Wi-Fi in your house, you expected to pay $600 on the date that is agreed on a monthly basis. Which means these guys are in the business of monthly cash flow. Imagine how wealthy you would be if you served, almost half of South Africa. Even about to stay, in an informal settlements, you will still find the area the Wi-Fi in need.
Yeah.
Right? Which means in some households, access to internet has become so important that it outsees even where they stay.
Yes.
Right? So that's why they have it. So which means if you can serve half the population of South Africa, which is 25 million, right? Or so, with Wi-Fi, every month you are expecting 25 million debit orders of $600 on average.
Sure.
Right? So that's what you do with that, right? So that's why I say the first thing you need to do, lack of money means that there's lack of knowledge in terms of wealth creation some way, somehow. So the first thing that has to change, lack of money means there is a lack
of knowledge
in relation to money, right? Now, this is another law of economics that I need us to talk about, is that we get paid for what we know, and we pay for what we don't know. Right? What we know, we get paid for because we know. What we don't know, we are the ones who pay for. Right? I made an example. Some time ago, I had a stolen car, and I had to attend, to a doctor, and when I attended to this dentist then told me, just for consultation of less than 10 minutes, I had to pay 400 Rand.
Sure.
Right? I paid 400 Rand because this person whose help I need, right, spent years educating themselves. Right? They spent years skilling themselves. Right? Therefore, 400 Rand for 10 minutes or less of their just for their speaking, because they get paid for talking actually. Right? Because I left the hospital, the gorilla still. I left the dentist, I mean to say, still feeling sick, still having a swollen gum. And I had to still go and buy the prescription, the prescribed, medication, which cost me an extra 600 rand or so, right? So for what I did not know, I paid 400 rand just to get counsel for what I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. So now another thing that I need us to pay attention to is that it is only in business where knowledge and skills are ignored by the public.
Okay.
When someone wants to be a civil engineer, they invest the time and the money to be civil engineers. When someone is committed to be a civil engineer, they first spend about 200,000, or so to study the practice in school.
Yeah.
Right? And university, so to speak. So investments are being made, right, towards this. Money is being spent and time is being spent on acquiring this knowledge. Right?
Yes.
Now, which means the focus is never on money. The focus is on the skills first, on the acquisition of the knowledge and the skills. When people have acquired the knowledge and the skills, then they get paid for having known what? The knowledge and the skills. But it's in business where people believe that their ideas are worth 100 million rand with them not having the necessary knowledge and skills, right? And sometimes I make an example of this by saying, a soccer player, right? A soccer player does not start by being famous, J, and earn 400,000 rand a month.
Sure.
And in the street, some people notice this boy is good. It's just what do you call this? It's just a taste of what could be. It's not what it is, right? But as this young boy keeps committing himself to the craft, to the game, by studying and practicing, football, which means they watch it, they practice it. If you notice, if there are people who never need to be told to study and practice something, it's football players, right? They practice, they are committed to their practice, they are committed to their thing, they know everything about their football. The commitment is of the highest quality, right? And this is the thing that always amazes me. So because of their commitment to the craft, they then start being known. Right? And when you go and watch the Nebalance Money Squad, there's about 40 people who came just to watch your son. He's not being paid for being watched by 40. Right? He's not being paid. For now, he's saying he's being called, the next Pele Walapelokshi. Right? Because now people are seeing the future of what this guy could be and are renaming him after what could be. Now, as this dude keeps committing himself long enough, right, persistently and consistently enough, this dude eventually finds an opportunity where a scout or somebody spots him and says, you deserve to play in the PSL. When they start playing in the PSL, maybe they get a contract of 15,000 rand. Do you notice that money is an end result, right? And if you notice at all the spheres of life, in every profession, money was always an end result. It's a reward for commitment to the craft.
Okay.
Right? Which means it's not something you get, Jay. It's a reward for your commitment or excellence in your craft.
Okay.
Right? So that's another way, right? Now, as I said, now a lot of people sleep on this because, as I said, people then start being negligent about this when it comes to business. Because it's in business where that common sense goes away. It's in business where this common sense does not make sense because then what do they do? They entrust their money to strangers who steal their money. They entrust their money to other people who said, I'm gonna trade for you. I'm gonna invest for you, right? But then, do you know what happens? Your money gets lost, and then someone cries, scam. Let me tell you, everyone who got scammed because they themselves were the scam. Right? They were scammed mentally. It's a problem. Right? When you are scammed mentally, you attract scammed opportunities because you don't have the eye and the knowledge to spot scams, and therefore your idea on this thing is so wrong, such that you can entrust your money into a scam to the point that now you lose even that saved. Can you see the importance of why it is important for one to invest in themselves? Because the minute you don't invest in themselves, you fall prey to scams. You become the target. You become an easy target. And then you say, every business person, Mayaba, you know, and then you hear people say, no, this thing does not work. Cryptocurrencies does not work. It's because this person did not take the time to educate themselves. Education. Education. It does not end with your degrees. It does not end with you wearing gowns, you know, and having achieved an amazing degree, you know, but it goes beyond that. The meaning of the word education is taken from the word educate, which is from a Greek word which means educere, and educere means to draw out potential from within. To draw out potential from within. Right? Which means it's important that as a person you educate, you invest in yourself. Ask me, why did I drop out of grade 12? I always say, because I had to first bet on me. Because everybody else believed in me because I believed in me first. In other words, your attitude towards yourself, right, and your business determines the public's attitude towards your business. Because your business is a reflection of self.
I got to fix your attitude. Fix your attitude. Fix your attitude. Zikholelwe wena uba ndiyayenza le nto ndiyiyo le. Abantu baza kuthatha serious only xa uzithatha serious. Xa ukholelwa ekubeni uba le nto ingenzeka. And imali, it is a reward for your excellence in your craft. So ufunde, yenzisise, uyenze ngoku, and you'll be rewarded later. Usebenze kanye, baqhuba ungqengqe ngomqolo, izizele. Wow. Lihle, ndicinga uba sigqibile. Masivala namhlanje.
Yes.
Masivale. Your last words?
Just lastly, I would say, for every day or so, I would say every day or every second or third day, I always meet people when we share opportunities with Abantu on how they can change their lives. I always meet people who've had, some bad experiences, and it boils down to ignorance. Get yourself, acquainted with learning about money. Rather pay to learn the skills and knowledge, because these skills and knowledge, money you can use at any time, but your skills are yours, right? A doctor can only be a doctor. A civil engineer can only be a civil engineer, until they change professions. A lawyer can only be a lawyer, right? Until they change professions or study something else, right? We are an accumulation of what we repeatedly study and practice. So, yeah.
Masivale. Thank you so much, Mr. Nxoyi. Ngoba usixhobisa ngayo yonke le nto. I think iqala apha engqondweni, iqala apha entloko, iqala nge-attitude yakho, ukwazi ukuyilungisa kuqala, uzokwazi uba uyibone le nto. And uyazi uba imali, buy your options. So singafane siyithini na okusala nokushiyeka xa unayo imali yakunceda, it buys you freedom, thenga into oyifunayo awucingi, but funeka usebenze kuqala ube ne-right attitude, uyazi uba uzayisebenza and umasterishe loo nto uyenzayo, uyenzisisise. Thank you so much, Mr. Nxoyi. Masidibane next Tuesday, ube nemini emnandi. Siyabulela ngexesha lakho, bantu bangakulandela kuLihle King Nxoyi. Inkosi kakhulu. Thank you, sir. Siyabulela. All right, Mr. Nxoyi lowo esibambe yena pha eCape Town. Thank you so much kuye. Nawe ngemphulaphula ndiyathemba into yobana ke uchole nto kule namhlanje ke inkqubo 847 kwi-social crossover. Sefuneka ndihambele ke bethu nani nam ndiyabulela ngoba nibe nam nihlale nam from 7 and from 6. Yo, ndagqiba ngeno 7 from 6 until now. Siyabulela kakhulu. Inkosi yoxolo inithwale inisikelele inikhusele inipha amandla oba mani bekwazi ukucinga lisebenze and excel in whatever you do. Whatever you do ijike ibe igolide ngoba uyayisebenza ne uyisebenze kangangoko unako izokwazi ufumana i-reward after that. Mandihambe ke bethu nani bekukuhle bekunjeya ndihleli nawe. Ndathemba into yobana nayo nifunda nto ke ngale inkqubo nakwezinye iinkqubo zethu ezilandelayo. Masihlale ke sikhuselekile. COVID isekhona, COVID isabulala, COVID isenza izinto. Mandinishiyeke ingoma ka-Aretha Franklin esithi ke respect. Bye-bye. Have a blessed day. Igama lami nginolowa kwaVitsha umzukulwana kaTamkhulu Mathule, Babes Radio, Babes Wireless, Babes Matotolo, kusikhulo sakho sikhulo Keith Ngesi Radio. We're doing radio according to you. Have a good morning. Bye-bye. Thank you so much. Sajibana ngomso. Abulela, Janitanda. Keep on supporting Keith Ngesi Radio. Don't forget to download the app and to like our page. Like page yethu. Enkosi kakhulu. And Masibana ngomso between 6 and 9. Uyeza kumamcika and Nels Kadiniso. There's out the aftermath. Bye-bye.